I should have peed before I started this. Let's do the thing. Oh. Okay, as far as shitty video content goes, that was pretty amazing. If any of you follow my social media, which you should, I have been doing some research. I always forget to say hi in these videos, by the way. I'm bad at this. Hi. Welcome back. Or welcome. Just hi. How are you? Are you okay? I apologise for the weird huskiness in my voice. I don't know why I'm husky. I think it's because I've been running and it's been really fucking windy. And I'm like running over this really, really big bridge, right? And the wind just picks up and up and up. And then, like, have you ever ran and, like, the winds just gets on your chest? I think that's why my voice is a little bit more like. So, yeah, soz about that. So, this week, I had a thought. There's a meme, basically, that's like, tag yourself as this character. I'll probably insert it just to, like, show you the choices of characters that I've had, but I decided to take it upon myself to rate and review the characters in this meme. So essentially, you know, you pick a character who, in any form of media that they were in, has an eating disorder with particular personality traits, and you're like, oh my god, I'm this person. So it's like I don't know, tag yourself as a SpongeBob character, or like tag yourself as an Overwatch character, or something like that. It's harmless, it's a stupid meme, and I've had feelings about it for a while, but I just wanted to touch on it because it's fun. And last video was a bit heavy, so fuck it, let's just take the piss. So I'm going to be rating, I'm going to tell you who I'm going to be rating because I have edited the meme. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go mostly from what I actually know myself and talk shit on the characters that I actually, you know, have an emotional connection to because I've seen them in their media. I did, however, watch a couple new things to get perspective on other characters. Editing Pixie made a little collage just so you can see all the characters that I'm doing. It's very exciting, very low quality collage. Aren't you proud of me? I'm proud of me. I'm going to be rating and reviewing in this. It's going to be a completely non-serious fucking look on these characters. Also, I want to stress the trigger, like just the heaviest trigger warning. The heaviest trigger warning. Don't seek this media out if you are in a vulnerable position, because honestly, some of the stuff in these shows, they don't hold back. They don't give a shit. And if you're feeling emotionally vulnerable, these are not the things you should be watching. So FYI, big fucking FYI right there. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to start with Cassie. Back in the day that Skins was released, you could seldom find any material online depicting eating disorders, and if you did, it was absolute horseshit. And Cassie was like relatable teen, but she wasn't relatable. It's actually really difficult to voice my opinion on Cassie because, as far as characters go, she was written by the people who wrote Skins, whoever the fuck they are, and they did not know how to tell Hannah Murray how to actually act. Like, they didn't know how to write her lines, they didn't know how to write her story. They got so tired of the fact that she had an eating disorder that they wrote it almost out when they did the um, special episodes after all of the seasons ended. They basically were just like, yeah, we actually can't write characters with eating disorders, so we're not going to. We're just gonna like not even pay attention to it. So it says a lot for your character when the writers give up writing the thing that like was looked to be the crux of this person's personality. It looked to be like their defining thing, because everybody in Skins had a defining thing. It's this is the problem with Skins fundamentally. The fact that they were all built from stereotypes. Like, they weren't characters, they weren't people, they were built from stereotypes. Lazy fucking writing. I found her relatable because there was nobody else to relate to. Cassie was a dreadful representation of somebody who was going through an eating disorder. Everybody in that show was just written so badly. And everybody heralds her as like the queen on Tumblr when everyone would share black and white gifs of Cassie saying she didn't eat for 3 days so she could be lovely. She was a terrible role model for a lot of people. Everybody in this list is a terrible role model, but Cassie specifically is a terrible role model because of how accessible she was. Now, Skins is on fucking Netflix, so, you know, watch a poorly written show by people who had barely any filmmaking experience. So my rating system, I'm going to explain my rating system. It is out of 10 rice cakes. So I give Cassie a 4 out of 10 rice cakes. Because there's potential. There's potential for her to be like a real well-rounded individual. If the show was remade by anybody else who weren't the original writers, Cassie could be a very well-rounded character with a lot of depth. And honestly, the format of Skins pissed me off, because you'd get invested in one character and then the next episode after it was a completely different character, and you're just like, nah. I mean, I could do this in order, but I'm gonna go on to the ones that are a bit more fresh in my mind now. So I want to look at Hannah from Starving in Suburbia. Why did I actually decide to watch this? This movie is an absolute god-awful train wreck. It is like those really bad horror movies that you get on Netflix that you watch when you want to watch a really bad horror movie. And honestly, if they refilmed this entire thing, if they sat there and was like, actually, no, there's something to work with here, if they actually turned around and said, no, we're going to change the dynamic of the film so it's a horror movie, I would watch the shit out of that. Like, actually having anorexia as a proper fucking demon and as like an exorcism. Because, yeah, so spoiler alert, basically. I mean, it's been out since like 2002 or 2004 or whatever, whenever it came out. But yeah, they basically try to personify the main character's eating disorder as an actual person. And you can see where they were going. You can totally see where they were going, but it's like a 14-year-old's fan fiction. It's relatable only in the fact that like this character has an eating disorder. That's the only way it's relatable. I don't know what it is about people who make films about eating disorders, by the way. Like, are you all just collectively in this group of people who can't make films for shit and can't write scripts for shit. Because the people in this film, like the actors, I I really hope they weren't paid very much because Jesus Christ. I mean, I got caught up on the fact very briefly. They were sat down to have dinner, and the boy in the family who is called Leo, apparently, um, he's a wrestler, and his dad is a controlling see you next Tuesday, basically dictating every calorie that this kid eats. And he's like a 15-year-old boy who just likes wrestling. And they're like proper controlling his weight. He's going a little bit like batshit. He doesn't enjoy it. And they have protein pasta. Like, is that a thing that exists? Like, DM me if you know about protein pasta, please. I kind of need this. So, essentially, she is a dancer because, of course, she's a dancer. Um, she and her friend, Miss Hannah, are supposedly working on college applications, and they're working on one of their letters that they have to write to get acceptance into a particularly prestigious college. I think it's called NYU. I don't know anything about the American educational system, but I think it's a big college. Who knows? What else? And her friend is talking about like random shit, and then she shows Hannah a Finspiration website that it turns out in the end that her friend was a member of the site as well. I think that's what they said. And basically Hannah's like, whoa, this is fucked up. What the hell? This is so weird. What is going on? Do you look at this stuff? And her friend's like, oh yeah, I look at this stuff sometimes. It's you know, everybody wants to be a little bit anorexic. And I was just, oh, I can't. I can't. It's fucking terrible. Like, I don't think I've ever heard a single human being utter that phrase before, but here we fucking are. Here we are, playing with this utter bullshit that is eating disorder media. Like, amazing. Okay, so she gets onto this Finspiration. I'm just going to call it Finspo, by the way. She gets onto this Finspo website. She makes an account. Everything sort of spirals. She starts losing weight, etc., etc., etc. And then this demon manifests itself in front of her, and she starts losing weight because the demon is literally an eating disorder demon, and she just keeps losing weight, and she starts binging, and there's a particularly awful vomiting scene. Her parents find her account on this Finspo website because she left her laptop open in her room. Like, I mean, it locked itself straight afterward, but for some reason, her brother Leo knew her password. And I'm like, okay, fine. We'll just assume she's a dipshit. And then they like try and force her into therapy, basically. And apparently in America it's $1,000 a day to go in inpatient, which that can't be true. Like, I know that the American healthcare system is a little bit, screwed, but $1,000 a day? That's mad. What the hell? So yeah, they force her into recovery. She doesn't embrace recovery in the slightest until it gets to a point in the film where she is watching her brother wrestle, and he gets taken down by this particular move, and long story short, he dies. Like, he dies. He full on fucking dies. And then it comes out that the move he was taken down by was called a hip pop. or a hip hop. I don't know. I don't know anything about wrestling. I couldn't even hear the fucking word properly. But a hip hop or hip hop. um, he was taken down by this particular thing. It also happened to be his username on the Finspo website. Plot twist. And he goes into a coma, like, from the malnourishment. I mean, I need to take this seriously, to be fair, but it was just. It was just so funny. He goes into a coma, I think. I think they didn't actually say what was going on, but that's what I saw. He looked like he was in a coma. I'm sorry, I'm full on losing it. And they sign a DNR because they were like, oh, there's nothing we can do. Like, something to do with his heart. Like, his heart gave out because this kid was supposedly not eating, but he was. Like, he was on this calorie controlled diet from his dad. So like, they did, if he wasn't eating, if he was like throwing his food away or throwing it up or doing some other particularly negative thing, they didn't focus on it. So it was basically like, this kid is on a athlete's diet and then he dies because he's on an athlete's diet and he gets hip popped and then his heart stops. What? Like, I don't get it. They completely glossed over it. All my attention span was just completely losing it because, to be fair, 3/4 the way through the film, I really was losing it. So yeah, he dies, and Hannah is left in a bit of a turmoil because she's like, well, shit, I still want to be skinny, but I can't be skinny because like anorexia just killed my brother, and I have to kill the demon inside me. So she tears down her strange little collage of Finspo on her wall. She destroys a frankly really pretty picture of a butterfly. She sees the demon in her mirror and she gets her keyboard from her computer and smashes the shit out of the mirror. And it takes her parents the entire breakdown to come into the room and be like, Hannah, what the fuck is going on? And yeah, so she embraces recovery. And next scene, she's with her friend who showed her the Finspo blog, the Finspo website, and they somehow tracked the owner of this website. I don't know how they did that. That's creepy. And they confront her, but like, it's only Hannah. Hannah confronts her. She's taking strange Finspo pictures in her back garden. They have this big argument where she's like, oh, you killed my brother because you didn't tell him to stop. Because like, she's not just the owner of this website, by the way. She is encouraging other people to engage in these behaviors, which is obviously not right. This is obviously fucked up. That's essentially it. That's the film. The owner of the website says sorry for killing her brother, and then she starts a recovery blog and invites everybody from the Finspo website to go on it so they can also recover as well. And it's all very happy and wonderful. It's so many things all at once, and it's literally trying to be everything. There was something there. They had something. They really did. They caught a little firefly, but it was just one firefly. I think I'm gonna give it 5 out of 10 rice cakes because I liked the idea that, yeah, like the eating disorder was a demon, but I only like it from the perspective of thinking like, what if it was an actual horror movie? I would pay good money to watch that as a horror movie. Starving in Suburbia needs to be a horror movie, basically, and then it will get 7 out of 10 rice cakes. Now I want to talk about something else that's fresh in my mind, because I watched this because somebody told me to, right? They know who they are. They probably, I mean, I hope they watch my stuff. I feel like they do. They know who they are, basically. Um, Also, hi. Um, it's called binge. There are words to describe binge. If you told me the same person who wrote Starving in Suburbia wrote binge, I wouldn't be surprised. Because they really try far too hard. What the fuck? Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. At least there was some believability in Hannah's character in Starving in Suburbia. Yeah, okay, this is fine. This is just a suburban American family. It's a little cliche, but it makes sense. But Angela in Binge is actually supposedly based on a real person that the actress actually is. Like, it's based on herself, apparently. Because I did some digging. I did my digging. I even watched the fucking prequel. Because they made a prequel. Like, it's an unaired TV pilot that's only available on YouTube. Honestly, watch it because it's dreadful. But, trigger warning, tons and tons and tons of awful scenes. Completely distasteful. Like, I mean, a lot of eating disorder media is a little bit distasteful because you can never actually capture the essence of an eating disorder without either glorifying it or being distasteful. Like, there is no line between, and I think this is the problem every single show I'm reviewing hits. Angela, unfortunately, in Binge, is, as far as believable characters go, she's the least believable human being I have ever come into contact with. I thought I was really funny by the like, but with this little note, by the way, the humor in this show. Um, I called it "It's Always Sunny in Bulimia" because they were like, they were trying to joke about disorders and the way that Angela was behaving and stuff like that, and it came across like the kind of jokes you get in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She's a quirky as fuck person. She doesn't have a real personality of her own, and nobody behaves like that. Like, at all. Like, I've known so many people. I'm 28. I've met a lot of people. I've never met a single person who behaves anything like Angela. And I can't actually believe for 1 second that she thinks she acts like that in real life. Just like, okay, so she goes into this therapy office because when she was drinking in a bar, she accidentally met an eating disorder therapist who, just by sheer stroke of luck, had an eating disorder questionnaire on him. And while they were drinking and like hooking up, essentially, he got her to fill this form out and agree to come in for a session the day after. And because she was blind drunk, she didn't remember. They call her up and he's like, Angela, where are you? You're supposed to come into my office today. And if you don't come into my office today, we're actually going to charge you a full day rate, which was something like $1,200. So she was like, well, shit, I'm not going to be charged $1,200 to not get therapy. So she goes into this therapist's office, who is the worst therapist I have ever seen. Like, the person and the people, the team that wrote this show tried so hard, and they're still trying to this day to get this TV pilot on the air. And honestly, if a TV executive is ever watching this video for whatever reason, don't air it. please. It's so bad. It's the worst thing that I have ever seen. It gets 2 out of 10 rice cakes. And the 2 is from the It's Always Sunny in Bulimia kind of comedy. Like, some of it's funny. Also, Drake from Drake and Josh is there. But he's kind of a dick, so this one is less fresh in my mind, so she's going to get a little less of a discussion. But we have a film called The Road Within, which isn't predominantly about eating disorders, but one of the central characters has an eating disorder. It's got Robert Sheehan in, who, if you don't know, is the guy from Misfits. He was Klaus in the Umbrella Academy. So yeah, I love Robert Sheehan. And it also has Anwar from Skins. So yeah, you have this girl called Marie, and basically they are all in this facility to treat people with complex mental health issues. So it's not an ED clinic, it's just a very illustrious clinic for people with mental health issues. Now, I actually like this film. I think it's a really good film. No, that was wrong. I like this film because it feels well researched. And they really tried, honestly. I mean, I'm going to get my rating out there, like, pretty, like, now. I'm going to give it 7 out of 10 rice cakes. Because when I watched it, I didn't sit there and think at any point during this film, is Marie not a person I can actually empathise with? I think it was the fact that she wasn't the central character that helped this film and helped them get this 7 out of 10 rice cakes. Highly recommend watching it, but again, trigger warning, because there are some scenes in the film that you kind of just go, oh my god, fuck, shit, that's bad. So, on my friend's recommendation, hi Ash, I watched the entirety of My Mad Fat Diary, because it started as part of research, to be honest. It started as part of research for this video. I was just going to watch the season with a character called Tix, who has anorexia. I was only going to like watch up until they weren't in the show anymore, and it just kind of spiraled out of control, and I watched the entire thing in about a week, which was cool. It's a really good show. I mean, Tix was not focused on a lot. Obviously, the show was based around Ray and her friends and like the dynamic in the friends, etc., etc. I don't know of very many films or TV shows or anything like that that actually try and capture binge eating disorder without being like comically over the top. They weren't saying the only thing about Ray is the fact that she's got binge eating disorder. They barely even touch on it. It's just like one of those things in the back of her mind all the time that, like, you know, she has to make sure she stays under control, otherwise she'll binge. And they did a similar thing with Tix. Like, Tix was just trying to live a real, like, regular life, and then, like, there was an episode where, like, a lot of time was dedicated to her being on screen, and you started seeing, like, the way she was and how bad her health was getting. And honestly, I loved the way they framed both of those characters. 9 out of 10 rice cakes. I am going to talk about my favourite one now. Girl Interrupted. Girl Interrupted has a special place in my heart because it helped me sort of come to terms with the fact that I probably have that I have borderline personality disorder. That's what the film is predominantly about. It's about a person from the 60s called Susanna Kaysen. She goes to the same hospital that Sylvia Plath went to. Basically, in this hospital, it's a big mess of patients because it's the 1960s. Nobody really cares about who's mixed with who, etc., etc. So you have two characters in Girl Interrupted who have eating disorders. One is called Daisy, and the other is called Janet. Daisy is a very interesting person in so many ways because she only eats rotisserie chicken, and she eats in secret because she thinks people watching her eat is like being watched when you're on the toilet, which is such a good way to put it, honestly. So yeah, she's got tons and tons of chicken, but like chicken carcasses underneath her bed. It's disgusting. But at the same time, it feels real. It's hilarious, but only because of how the film frames it. Like there was a whole phrase like eating chicken, like because she's moving out and she's got an eating kitchen, but she says eating chicken, and top notch. Janet is honestly barely even touched on in the film, but every time they do touch on her, I do kind of think I'm glad she didn't get any more screen time, because had they done that, they would have turned her into a massive cliche. Like, she looked like a dancer. I think she was a dancer, and she was very underweight. She's a very good personification of somebody with anorexia, but at the same time, had she had even 5 minutes more screen time, it would have just been too much. As much as I love Janet, as much as I love this entire film, I'm glad that Daisy got more screen time than Janet did, because Janet was fine, but Daisy was just so much more interesting. The creme de la creme. Wait, did I rate Girl Interrupted? Oh, 8 out of 10 rice cakes. 8. They don't overblow it and turn it into a cliche. Speaking of cliches, we're gonna touch on everyone's favourite film. This film, when it was released, got a absolute metric shit ton of bad press. I've watched To the Bone more times than I care to admit, because a big problem when you deal with the kinds of things that I have been talking about for the last hour is you chase down this media, you chase it all down, and you eat all of it up, no matter how bad it is. This is why these films exist, because people like us chase them all down. So when To the Bone gets released, everyone was like, wait, this is Netflix budget. Lily Collins is in this film. What's her face? Emily from Skins is in this film. Keanu Reeves is in this film. So how could it be bad? How? Is it a bad movie overall? I mean, it doesn't tread any more ground than the other things I've discussed. It's basically 2017's Starving in Suburbia, with less pro-Ana, I guess. But, you know, the line between triggering and cliche is non-existent, and that's what To the Bone suffers from the most. The fact that they are trying to portray the severity of an illness that feeds on itself, and they can throw in as many different variants of people with eating disorders as they like, but at the end of the day, no matter what you do, as long as you put this stuff in the media, you're gonna trigger somebody, you're gonna upset somebody, and the people who you're trying to educate are gonna get upset by the content that they're viewing regardless. I like Ellen as a character. I think she's very interesting. I'm a little bit biased because I really have a crush on Lily Collins. Like, she's adorable. But, like I said, she is just. The whole film is just 2017 starving in suburbia, except with more annoying British dancers, which honestly ruins the entire film for me. There's a character in it who is called Luke, and they basically try to get as many demographics as they possibly can. A lot of the problems with these sorts of films and these sorts of TV shows is they're a little bit whitewashy. So all their characters are white, skinny Americans, or they're white, skinny British people. Like, there's no depth to them past that. Like, everyone that they've gone over today actually has been white, and the only person who was not skinny was Ray, and that's because she had binge eating disorder. The bar is set pretty low. They tried, they failed miserably because they made a character with, I think it was supposed to be bulimia, but I'm not entirely certain. They didn't really give her very much screen time, but I felt it was a little bit rude to make the black member of the cast the fat one. Like, distasteful as fuck. So, Luke is a British dancer who moved to America to pursue his dancing career. He pushed himself so far that he gave himself this really bad injury, which, long story short, he can never dance again, basically. And he is insufferable. They know, like, they have to know how insufferable this person was. He was the most pretentious fucking asshole. I think I just don't like people like him. They really tried with this film. They really, really did. And they fell short in the representation department. In the eating disorder, like, treatment department, they fell quite far because the way Keanu Reeves was, being their therapist was incredibly unorthodox. Nobody receives therapy from somebody like Keanu Reeves. As much as I enjoy him as a person, I love him, like, he's fantastic. I don't think doctors are allowed to do what he does. Like, it's not like he does anything illegal, but he's definitely not a good doctor. He's very, like, he changes Ellen's name halfway through the film to Eli because he's like, I don't like your name. And you're just like, it's not important, Keanu. It gets a lot of things correct in its portrayal of people with eating disorders, but only if you only focus on Eli as a character. If you focus on anybody else who isn't Ellen, and you will be disappointed because the other portrayals of the other characters are as lazy as any other type of media. But Eli, I have got a bit of a soft spot for, so I'm giving To the Bone 6 out of 10 rice cakes. But I can't talk about To the Bone without talking about that scene. So to give you some context, her mum, her actual biological mum, lives in, I don't remember where she lives, but basically she lives on this really, really nice farm. They have a big tent outside in their house where they rent it out to like an Airbnb thing. And Eli gets on a coach to go to this mum's house so she could have a bit of alone time and just sort of relax, chill. And they're a bit weird. This family, not in like in like a will eat your face kind of weird, like not kind of like Hannibal weird, but they're definitely a bit odd. Um, they make their own rice milk, and which is fine. Go ahead, make your own rice milk, enjoy. But she was talking to her mum. Her biological mum was talking to one of her friends who sounds a little bit kooky, and they basically suggested that to repair their mother-daughter bond, that Eli needed to be breastfed. Because apparently there was a problem in the development cycle when Ellen was a baby and she never actually received any kind of like breast milk from her mum and was only on like formula or something. And her kooky friend decided this is what has helped contribute to the fact that Ellen has got anorexia. And that's so yeah, they make this rice milk, and in Ellen's weakest state, she's just got off the coach, she's just passed out, she's having a really tough time. She goes to see this mum, she goes into the Airbnb tent, which honestly looks really, really relaxing, and gets fed like a baby this rice milk from her mum. And the first time I watched it, the 15th time I watched it, I fucking lost it. I absolutely lost it. I can't watch that scene without cracking the fuck up, because I wasn't breastfed. Is this why I'm the way I am? Shit. Oh god. This is going to be an awkward conversation with my mum. So, to summarise, eating disorders in media, films, and TV shows are never portrayed well. If they are portrayed well, it's because they weren't the central focus of the show or the film that you're watching. If you plan on watching any of the things that I have just discussed, I did not tell you to watch them because I would never do such a thing. I want you to be happy, healthy, and eat a well-balanced diet, not get hip-locked in your wrestling matches and then die from cardiac arrest or something medical. I don't understand. You don't need to be fed rice milk by your mum. And anorexia is not an actual fucking demon. Don't starve yourself for 3 days so you could be lovely. I didn't eat for 3 days so I could be lovely. Oh shit. One day somebody's going to make a interpretation of eating disorders in the media and it'll actually be good. I'll be able to give it 10 out of 10 rice cakes. And until that day, I will continue watching absolutely everything that they release like this. Put all of their eggs in different baskets, but they've only got the same amount of eggs. Like, they have a 10-pack of eggs, right, and they have 10 baskets, so one basket gets one egg, when really they need to be putting 10 eggs in each basket. This has been fun. I hope it's been fun for you. This has been pretty enjoyable. I'm going to go for a run, and then I'm going to have my dinner, because anorexia isn't a demon, and I don't need to destroy a really nice mirror to get rid of it. So, I'm going to do the social media thing. It's magic. I'm literally Selena Gomez's character in Wizards of Waverly Place. I am a witch. There it is. See? Magic, right? I received a lot of really nice comments from my last video. And I want to thank everybody who took the time to watch it. I know it was long, I know it was a bit of a slog, but I've had a couple people reach out to me and say that it really helped them. So that honestly made my heart so warm I nearly died. Keep being you. Be happy, be amazing, be beautiful like you already are. I think it would be really, really cool if you liked this video. And subscribing would be great too. It fills me with warmth, it fills me with more love than I already have, and honestly, I just love anybody who takes the time to, watch me talk shit. You're amazing. You mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a new video from Noodle Pixie, and I'll see you guys at the end of the week when I make another video. I love you with all of my little heart. Subscribe for free face masks. I can't promise that, but subscribe. Go get a face mask. You deserve it. I love you. Take care. Bye.